Hi Capricorn, this is Amanda Nardozzi. This reading is going to be for April 15th to the 21st. That being said, we're just going to jump right into it. The spread that I'm using today is the tree spread. So we're going to talk about the root, things that you're working through presently, how you're going to grow through it with the bark, and then with the leaves, those are going to be any blessings, extra messages, things that will come of the situation, etc., etc. So let's just get right into it here. What are we growing from now? Okay. So, Five of Swords. You have the Five of Swords here, the Nine of Pentacles, and the Page of Cups. So the Five of Swords talks about maybe having some type of conflict with somebody else. Anytime the Five of Swords pops up, this is like an external conflict. So it almost feels like, I don't know. You know what? It almost feels like a competition. Like you're in competition with somebody, or I'm hearing like, I don't know. Some of you might be like in it to win it, or there's some type of competition. Okay, for some, this applies differently for some of you. Some of you, it's a competition in a job, maybe competing for the same role. For some of you, it's like a jealousy thing with people that you know, like acquaintances, relatives is coming through for some of that. So just keep that in mind. There's like some type of competition going on. That's what it's alluding to. The Nine of Pentacles talks about feeling confident, self-assured, and at ease. So this is actually energy that if you're not embracing this energy, just don't fall into that jealousy trap or that feeling of not being good enough, especially when it comes to clashing with others. It's almost like this is kind of where you are learning with the Page of Cups. So interesting because it's like what was the first sign I did today? Taurus had something very similar of they were learning about the mind, but it's almost like you were learning about like how to handle emotions here when it comes to for some of you it's career. There's a lot of stuff coming in. I'm gonna try to keep it general because it's almost like I'm getting different scenarios, but whatever this competition is, it's like the fight to be self-assured with a Page of Cups. The Page is a forever student. So regardless of what suit it's in, when it comes to the cups, it's almost like it's learning about intuition and emotion. So it's learning to follow your own intuition through external strife. Even if somebody is kind of beating you down and acting really smug about it, this card actually cautions against being the smug person. Because it's almost like, again, the Nine of Pentacles, understanding that no one can touch you, understanding that, you truly have your own power. I'm hearing like, if you don't make it here, go somewhere else. Like that's the type of power that you have. That's the type of power you can work with. Okay. And it's almost like, and if, I don't know, like, I almost feel like you got it in the, for some of you, it's like the competition doesn't even feel like it's a physical thing. Like it might be, but it's almost like someone's using it to justify that they're better than you. And that's, again, there's a danger of mirroring that energy. So make sure that you're not doing that. You're falling into that Nine of Pentacles confidence. This is somebody who is, usually Nine of Pentacles comes with the energy of feeling confident in their finances, feeling confident walking in their own garden. Again, like the self-sufficient just keeps coming to mind. So you're like, I got this. I'm self-sufficient. I got it in the bag. And it's like you are learning how to hold your own and hold that confidence against this external stuff that's going on. So that being said, let's see how we're going to grow from it through the bark of the tree. So what's next for us? Okay. All right. I was getting kind of a lover situation for some of you. So because you also have the Lover's card. This doesn't necessarily mean it has to be in relation to a loved one, or like a romantic partner, but that usually is a sign. Before we go fully into that card, it usually is a sign of, communication with someone else. And, especially given the underlying message of everything, it almost feels like your partner might feel, for whatever reason, in competition with you. That being said, if this energy does resonate with you, like this would be energy that you have already suspected, that you feel. This is energy that, like this isn't almost like, for some of you, it might be confirming, but almost like don't create things that aren't there for yourself, basically. Because I'm actually getting more of a self message with the Lovers, and I'll talk about why in a minute. We have the Justice card that came out first. This is like coming up from the base of the tree and into the trunk. And this tells me that at the root of all of this, like as we are growing from this, We are growing from this, and we are learning how to hold our own and hold our self-confidence. We are learning to have a balance in things. I'm hearing, what do I gain from this situation? So looking at this situation with a critical eye, what do I gain from this as a person? And if it's almost like I'm hearing like very little. So like indulging in these extra games that other people might be playing, it's almost like you're like, no, like I'm not even gonna, because again, I see you being successful on your own anyway without it, right? Like without having to compete, without playing all of the mind games, without getting wrapped up in everybody else's drama and everybody else's stuff, right? Like that's the thing. It's drama that you don't want to touch that's not yours. People are trying to make it your drama, but it's not your drama, and you understand this. So with the Justice card, you are weighing the pros and cons, and you're like, this energy does not serve me, and I don't claim that. And that's excellent. Do that, okay? You also, Capricorn, have the Lovers, and we talked about this a little bit already. Like if you have romantic partners and you're already feeling like they've been competing with you, or this is something that's been a long-standing, I'm hearing this has been a long-standing issue in your romantic partnership. So if it's something that you guys have been struggling with for a while, this is a reference to that. But it's almost like, again, it's standing true to yourself anyway, because that's their own stuff to work through. So when you're like in a romantic partnership, it's working together as a team, but also understanding, I'm hearing also understanding that it is not up to you to be the better person. I'm hearing like you're needing to walk away. And this doesn't necessarily mean separating from this person or like, breaking up or, anything like that. It might be if that's what you've been feeling called to do, but there is an energy of just needing to take a break for a while they sort out through their stuff, or like needing to emotionally detach for a little bit while they handle their insecurity. But for a lot of you, I'm getting like a self type of message. So if not a romantic, the Lovers is always a reflection, regardless of when we're in partnerships, it always feels like a reflection of ourselves, because we often seek what we feel we are worth. And these are often like it's these romantic partners, regardless of how they treat us, that usually teach us about ourselves. Usually like the romantic partnerships come with the greatest lessons ever, right? And when we're talking about the Lovers, like is a meaning of ourselves, it's almost like you are meeting your shadow self, and I'm hearing like you're greeting your shadow self with grace. And it's like you are nurturing your shadow self, but you are accepting it, and you are teaching it how to stand confidently anyway, because you are meeting your shadow self. You understand that there are darker parts of you. You understand that there are parts of yourself that you don't like, but it's almost like you are growing, accepting of them. Like that's the person that you are becoming and growing from this situation. You are learning, hey, I can't have it all, and that's okay. Right? I can't have it all. I might not be able to be everything that I want to be, and that is okay. We are still learning. We're still growing. We're on our own journey, and I'm hearing like I can succeed at something else, or I can be better at something else, or I can feel good and be respected for it somewhere else. That's a big thing. For a lot of you, you're already very good at what you do. If this is an actual competition with like a situation thing, some of you might be, I'm hearing like, oh, she's prettier than me or something, and that might be the competition itself. But for a lot of you, it could be like a skill thing. But if you're actively doing something, that competition, it's almost like you recognize, okay, well, there are people out there that can recognize me for where I'm at and not comparing me to other people, and they can respect what I bring to the table regardless of, who else is around, And that is the type of energy I feel like you are bringing in with this trunk, right? You also have, lastly, the Death card here before we start pulling some Oracle cards. Now, the Death card, I feel like for whatever reason, this is like the key or like the doorway. It's like the initiation to activate some type of abundance. This is the transformation. This is the transformational period that will come from all of this work that you are doing to help separate yourself from the other drama, to help separate yourself. I do feel like some of you are working closely with some of these energies to try to help them. But again, it is not your job to be the bigger person, is kind of the message that's coming through here. So try not to put too much of your energy or too much in. If you're finding that to be you. But the Death card is that transformation. Let's see what leaves Bridge from this transformation. Because it's a transformation of the self. This is, I don't know what this transformation looks like, so let's see. Soulmates! For some of you, this is the Lovers. This is like for some of you, this is a romantic partner. Soulmates does not necessarily have to be, this is not like, it was just a confirmation that I was excited about, not necessarily like it actually kind of sucks that some of you are having tensions with your lovers. That wasn't me being excited for you. That was me being like, oh, I just talked about it, right? So anyway, soulmates doesn't necessarily have to be lovers though. For some of you, this is confirmation that it would be a lover. For others, Soulmates can actually be, again, very important figures that can change us. And honestly, people who provide a lot of tension in life, like if you meet someone who ends up being like the greatest bully for you of all time, that person themselves could be a soulmate. It might not make sense. And I feel like the energy turned critical as I say that. But now that I'm tuning in, it almost feels like maybe that person was critical of you. But whoever is turning critical for whatever reason, that person can be a soulmate, because soulmates do teach us things. It is a close connection that we have, or a connection that we look at and we say, wow, that has affected me greatly. You don't have to be extremely close to that person. You're just like, oh, snap. They are provoking such a huge change in me, and it's a catalyst for something else. And that is going to be like, that soulmate card is the catalyst towards transformation. And some of you, if you don't already have, like if you're not already, I'm hearing some of you might actually be greeted with a soulmate. So after this transformation, you might actually meet somebody important, either a romantic partner, like a new romantic partner if you're looking for something like that, or like a new friend or companion. I'm hearing like companionship. So for some of you, it's like what could come of this is meeting someone new. Afterwards, someone to be close with, somebody who respects you, who values your opinion, somebody who is willing to work alongside of you, and not, deal with all this, not cause all of this drama, right? You also have imagine. So what kind of relationship do you want, or what kind of friendship, companionship, what kind of life do you want to create for yourself? Spirit's almost like generate ideas, start having fun with it, start thinking about it. And it's almost like after this death cycle, there's nothing stopping you from imagining now, but as you were learning to separate from this energy, you are also expanding on your creativity, you're also expanding on your imagination, because with that heightened self-confidence, with that, it's almost like Spirit's like, with this new gem that you have created and sculpted for yourself, it's almost like you are opening your mind to everything that you can be, or everything that you can have to attain. Something about, there's like, again, whispers of success for some of you too. So like, what do you dream of for your success, right? Let's see if we have some other cards that we can pull. What other leaves do we have to add to our tree? Balance. So we already talked about balance with the Justice card. So again, bringing balance to your life. I do feel like this is a lifelong journey of trying to earn balance. And this doesn't mean, sometimes when I say this, people go, oh, that means I'm not going to get balance until like years from now. Absolutely not. We are always learning balance. I think, honestly, balance is a myth. I think you can feel more balanced, but I think that especially when you have goals, when you're ambitious, or when you're somebody who wants to craft the life of your choosing, it does take a lot of effort, and it is a lot of hard work. Everything that we would want to participate in life, sometimes we don't always get to do, because life is, limited. Like, life is limited, at least in this single lifetime. And life may be limited, but possibilities are limitless. So understanding that you're somebody that understands that and might struggle with balance, and it might be because you're putting energy or attention to the wrong things. I actually see like scrolling on phones, so that could be like a symbol or an example for some of you, but maybe investing too much time just like listening to, I'm hearing like kind of, okay, these exact words are not coming from Spirit, but almost like listening to the woes of your energy. So it's almost like, what would actually help you get up and moving is to get up and move. And to get out of your funk, sometimes you have to stand up and move around. And it's almost like maybe some of you just kind of give into the funk because you're like, oh, like, I wish I didn't feel this way. And it's like, well, maybe like getting up and moving, and like, again, like I feel like a previous sign had this, moving stuff off of the back burner to the front and tending to those things. For some of you, it could be like a messy house, I'm getting. So for some of you, like you might actually have house chores to do, house projects that you need to tend to. Actually doing that clears up some energy, and I'm hearing like it's going to make you feel good. It's going to make you feel accomplished. So restoring balance that way might be the next step from all of this, because that also helps magnify like that Nine of Pentacles feeling like you got your shit together, right? And spiritual gifts, Archangel Raziel. Thank you, Raziel, for helping me channel my gifts and talents. So somebody who is spiritually gifted, somebody who has something to give to the world, is almost like, again, your intuition is magnified, your spirituality almost is magnified. I feel like coming out of this, you're more connected with yourself because you're believing in yourself more. You're standing up for yourself more. And again, it's not like some of you are shutting it out, but that's not really like the full on, like, I'm getting the words popping into my mind, but I'm not feeling that. Like, it's almost like some of you might not completely cancel this person out of your life or the situation or whatever, but it's almost like you're emotionally detaching from it. So I'm basically, I hear Spirit say, see ya. So whatever the case may be, you're still growing. However you choose to say goodbye, or however you choose to leave this energy behind and transform, you are still growing from it, right? I'm gonna tell you what, some of you are really gonna hate me. A tidy house, clarity and organization. So I feel like that's kind of self-explanatory because I already said that. We talked about cleaning your house. Some of you might actually be due for like a spring cleaning or whatever season it is for you in the world. That cleaning time, it might actually be time to do that. So that's funny. We just talked about that. But anyway, I feel like that doesn't need further elaboration. What else we got going on? We got 2 more cards, and then we're going to roll some dice for you, Capricorn, and we're going to send you on your way. Metamorphosis. So, wow. Okay, so we talked about the transformation. This is literally next to the death card. So we talked about this transformation. This is, again, I'm hearing like this is the new beautiful you. So you are learning to stand stronger, more confidently. You were already standing confident as it is, but again, you're learning to navigate like these emotional lessons with the Page of Cups here. So again, like learning to accept yourself more, even in the face of all of this energy of competition. You have dry desert here as well. Dry desert talks about needing to walk a very long distance with very little resources available. They have everything they need with the inner strength within, but you know that cactus, like, you know, when you come across a cactus when you're in the desert and there's no water in sight and you have no water, they say that, you know, water is stored in the cactus. So a lot of people might have to break open the cactus, which tend to be very spiky. So it's really rough. So the thing is, like, there is hope. You do come out from the other side of the desert, but things might be kind of dry for a while. It is almost like this currently is kind of like a battlegrounds of sorts. And it's almost like you need to rely on your inner resources rather than your outer resources in order to get through something. So as you are growing and changing and evolving, like this is like the battleground for it, this dry desert right now. But on the other side of this dry desert, like through this metamorphosis, which is like the transitionary period of this metamorphosis is the dry desert, this learning ground right now. You do come out on the other side with all of this treasure, with all of this learned stuff. Now you know so much about the desert. You have kind of almost a mini map of how you navigated it so you can help others who are walking through the desert. And you're also in this card being guided because you see this bird. I actually never noticed this bird up here, but there's a bird off in the distance. And there's also this little sign. Some of you could be following astrology. Some of you are using astrology as your guide. Some of you are looking to the sky. Some of you, like, it might be spirit animals, shamanism, spirit guides, like whatever the case may be. I do feel like for a lot of you it's spirit guides, but you are connecting with a higher power and you are following their guidance and they are leading you straight through the desert, even though you were like, don't want to go there. Why are you leading me there? But it's almost like that trust me, you know? And then you're following this bird through the desert and allowing it to guide you to the other side to learn what you need to learn. So again, lots of spiritual implications here. You have 9, 12. I'm pulling from Angel Numbers by Kyle Gray. So 9, 1, 2. So I'm looking at the numbers. You have a few ones in your reading too. 9, 1, 2. Excuse me. Know that the soul work you are doing is having a positive and healing impact on your life. And in particular, your relationships and connections with others. One more time, know that the soul work you are doing is having a positive and healing impact on your life. And in particular, your relationships and connections with others. So again, this dry desert, which is what we just talked about, this having trust in spirit, that it's not only good for you, by the way, it's not only impacting your spiritual growth, but other people, even if they seem like they're not changing, even if they seem like they are stuck in their own madness, they are still working through it. So long as life goes on, so long as the sun keeps, rising and setting, they're still being faced with the same mentality, the same beliefs, the same issues again and again and again. So every day is an opportunity for them to work on it. Right? And I do feel like things are constantly in flux. Things are constantly changing. That doesn't mean you need to sit around and wait for this person to change. But I do see actively doing work, maybe not to the extent that you would for spiritual work, but I would say simply just by existing and meeting it, like spirit says, okay, they're talking to me now and they're like, okay, so that standard is very low. Just existing is not necessarily working on your stuff. And I could respect that. But I also feel, coming from me, that, life is changing, life goes on, but life inevitably happens to people to be the catalyst for change. So all I'm saying is don't wait around. I'm hearing like waiting on the world to change. So don't do that. That's something to not do, is waiting on everybody else to change. But honoring your own growth cycles. So when you're growing out of something, you can walk away, or when you're growing out of something, to transform into that powerful person you were meant to be. But again, just trusting and sending away this person, energy, situation, however you choose to separate from this or evolve from this, sending unconditional love in that general direction, and sending hope that, maybe they will grow. Because again, it's not all set in stone. I know some people, sometimes I feel the energy and I'm like, oh, this energy feels very statue like. It seems like they're very set in their ways and they're not going to change. But we always have an opportunity to change, every single one of us. Some of us just cling too tightly to the hope that other people will change. So that being said, we did talk a lot about different attitudes towards other people. So just understanding that it's a chance that, you would be taking. But I do feel like you're very focused on the self, and you're like, well, what is best for me? Which is great. Again, that 9 of Pentacles, that's where you want your focus to be, is, this energetic exchange. How does it work for me? If it's not serving me, separating from it. That being said, Capricorn, that was your reading. I hope it helped, and I will see you next week. Bye.